Hey everyone, and welcome back to AI Paper Podcast. Today we are diving deep into a paper that, well, the title alone kind of makes you raise an eyebrow,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
like magic, right?
Yeah.
It's called Magic 1-for-1, generating 1-minute video clips within 1 minute.
Yeah, it's definitely a bold claim.
I mean, who doesn't want AI that fast?
Exactly, and the research actually seems to deliver on that promise, which is really exciting. So this paper is all about speed, like you said, and efficiency in AI video generation,
Yeah.
specifically in the realm of image-to-video or I2V generation.
Okay, so for our viewers who maybe haven't encountered I2V before,
Right.
could you give us like a quick breakdown of what that is?
Absolutely. So imagine you have a single image. Think a beautiful landscape or a really detailed portrait. I2V generation uses AI to take that static image and turn it into a full video, complete with motion, with changing elements, the whole 9 yards.
So instead of like building a video from scratch, you're giving the AI a starting point with that image.
That's a great way to put it. And this approach is interesting in AI research because that starting image can tell us a lot about the scene,
Yeah.
the objects, even the potential for movement.
It's like a blueprint, right? Gives it a head start.
Exactly, yeah. It gives the AI a foundation to work with.
Okay, so let's get into the heart of this magic. This paper claims to generate a full minute of video in just 1 minute. How do they actually pull that off?
Well, the key is this really smart two-step process they've come up with. First, they get that starting image. Sometimes they'll actually generate it using AI. Other times it's an existing image.
Okay.
And then they use that image as the basis to build out the whole video. And they do that by leveraging the power of diffusion models.
Hold on, diffusion models, I feel like we've been hearing a lot about those lately, but I'm still a little fuzzy on exactly how they work.
Diffusion models are definitely having their moment in the spotlight right now. It's for good reason. They're really powerful. Imagine you have a perfectly clear picture, and then you slowly add noise to it little by little until it becomes completely unrecognizable, just a mess of pixels. A diffusion model learns how to reverse that process. So it starts with that noisy image and gradually removes the noise until, bit by bit, you have that original image back.
Oh, okay, so it's like cleaning up a messy picture, but in reverse.
Yeah, exactly. And what's fascinating is they apply that same concept to video.
Okay, so instead of just one image, it's working with a whole sequence of images.
Exactly. So instead of creating one image, the model generates a series of video frames, and it does it by starting with pure noise and refining it over time until those frames form a smooth, moving scene.
That's wild. So it's like the AI is cleaning up a noisy video, but instead of cleaning, it's actually creating it.
You got it. That's the core idea behind diffusion models. And to get to that super fast 1-minute generation time, the researchers behind Magic 1-for-1 used a technique called diffusion step distillation. Basically, they trained a smaller, more efficient AI to copy the behavior of a much larger, more complex diffusion model.
Oh, so it's like creating a mini-me version of the bigger AI that can do the same job but faster.
Precisely. And what's really interesting is that this distillation technique worked way faster for I2V compared to, say, text-to-video generation.
That's curious. Any ideas why that might be?
Well, it probably comes back to that starting image we were talking about, because in I2V, the AI has that strong foundation to build from. It doesn't have to work as hard to figure out what the scene is,
Right.
what the objects are. It's like starting a puzzle with half the pieces already in place.
Right. It's a shortcut of sorts.
Exactly. It makes the whole process a lot more efficient.
So they're using these like turbocharged diffusion models. But how do they ensure that the generated video actually matches the content they want? Are they using text prompts like we see in other video generation models?
Actually, they've gone a step further and incorporated something called multimodal guidance. So instead of just using text descriptions, they're also feeding the AI images. This helps guarantee that the final video is consistent with the original image.
Got it. So it's like they're giving the AI more visual context to work with. Makes sense if you want a video that really reflects the style and content of that starting image.
Yeah, it's all about providing those extra layers of information to guide the AI.
And to make this whole system even more efficient, didn't they also use some specific optimization techniques?
They did, yeah. In fact, they used several. One of them is called multimodal prior condition injection.
Okay, now break that one down for me. That sounds pretty intense.
Okay, so think of it like giving the AI a mood board along with the image.
Right.
So it gets even more visual cues to work with.
So it's getting a feel for the style, the vibe of the video it's creating.
Exactly. And then they also use something called adversarial step distillation.
Okay, now that one sounds like a real AI showdown.
It kind of is. It's like pitting two AIs against each other during training. The first one, called the generator, creates video frames.
Okay.
The second one, the discriminator, has to judge whether those frames are real or fake.
So they're constantly trying to outdo each other.
Yeah. And as they compete, they both get better and better, leading to some really impressive results.
I love that, like an AI arms race. But for video generation, what else did they do to optimize the system?
Well, they also use a technique called parameter sparsification, which basically makes the AI model leaner and more efficient.
So it's like decluttering your computer to make it run faster.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
So they're basically trimming the fat off the AI model without sacrificing quality.
Exactly, and all of that contributes to the model's speed and performance.
Okay, so they have these tricked out diffusion models, multimodal guidance, and a bunch of optimization techniques. But the real question is, how well does it actually work? I mean, is the quality any good, or is it just about speed?
Well, that's the thing. Magic 1-for-1 isn't just super fast. It also outperforms a bunch of other open source image-to-video models in terms of visual quality.
Wow.
And smoothness of motion, too.
So it's not just a one-trick pony. It's fast and high quality.
It really is. The results are pretty impressive.
How did they measure that quality, though? What benchmarks were they using?
They used two main benchmarks, VBench and General VBench. These benchmarks assess different aspects of the generated video, like how well it matches the input image, how smooth the motion is, and the overall visual fidelity.
Okay, and Magic 1-for-1 came out on top in those benchmarks.
It did. If you want to see for yourself, check out Figure 1 and Figure 6 in the paper. They have some great visual comparisons that really show what this model can do.
I'll definitely be checking those out. Okay, so we've covered a lot here, from diffusion models to multimodal guidance to those optimization techniques. Before we get into the really technical details of how this magic happens, let's take a second to summarize the key points for our viewers, especially those who might be tuning in for the short-form version of this deep dive.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those joining us for the short-form edit, here's the gist. Magic 1-for-1 can generate a full minute of video in just 1 minute. Pretty amazing, right? And it uses this clever combination of techniques to do it. The researchers focused specifically on image-to-video generation, which means they started with a single image and used AI to turn it into a moving video. To get to that super fast generation time, they broke down the task into smaller, more manageable chunks, and they used a few tricks like diffusion, distillation, and multimodal guidance to really boost performance. And the results are impressive, not just in terms of speed, but also quality. Magic 1-for-1 beats other open source image-to-video models, and it creates videos that are smoother, have higher visual quality. It's exciting stuff, and this research has the potential to change video creation as we know it, making it faster and more accessible for everyone.
Absolutely. Now, for those of you sticking around for the full deep dive, buckle up. We're about to get into the nuts and bolts of how this magic actually works.
Yeah, we're going to unpack how they factorize that video generation task and go deeper into those optimization tricks. I think you'll find it pretty fascinating.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's dive into those optimization tricks that make Magic 1-for-1 so special.
Yeah, I'm really curious to hear more about how they got so much performance out of this. We talked about multimodal prior condition injection earlier, like giving the AI a mood board.
Right.
Can you unpack that a little bit more? How does that actually work in practice?
Yeah, for sure. So it's all about giving the model extra info about the kind of video you want, more than just the image itself. So let's say you have a picture of a city at night, right? Lots of lights and stuff. You want to generate a video that has that same energy, that vibe, not just the visual elements. That's where this multimodal prior condition injection comes in. You can feed the model other visual cues like pictures of neon signs, cars moving, maybe even a starry night sky. That way the AI gets a better sense of the overall style and generates something that fits your vision.
Right, so it's not just copying the image, it's understanding the mood you're going for.
Exactly, it's like giving the AI some artistic inspiration.
That's cool. And then there was adversarial step distillation, which sounded like a real AI battle royale.
It kind of is. You've got two AI models going head-to-head during training. The generator's job is to create video frames.
Right.
And then the discriminator has to figure out if those frames are real or fake.
Okay, so they're pushing each other to get better.
Exactly. The generator wants to fool the discriminator, and the discriminator wants to catch the generator. It's this constant back and forth that leads to higher quality video in the end.
Makes sense. And what about parameter sparsification? That one seemed a bit more technical.
Yeah, that one's all about making the model more efficient. AI models can get really complex with millions, even billions of parameters.
Right.
Parameter sparsification basically identifies and removes any unnecessary parameters, kind of like decluttering your computer to speed things up.
Oh, so it's like streamlining the model to make it run faster.
Exactly. And that can actually improve the model's overall performance, too. It's a win-win.
That's awesome. Okay, so they used all these really advanced techniques to create this crazy fast, high-quality video generation system. But obviously no system is perfect. What are some of the limitations of Magic 1-for-1?
That's a good point. No system is perfect, and even with all these advancements, there are things Magic 1-for-1 can't do or things that could be improved. One of the limitations they mention in the paper is the data set. So the videos they used to train the model have a fixed resolution, 540 by 960.
Okay.
That means the model might struggle with different resolutions or aspect ratios.
Right. It's been trained on a very specific type of video.
Exactly. It's like asking a painter who's only ever worked on tiny canvases to suddenly create a giant mural. They might have the skills, but they'd need to adapt. The same goes for Magic 1-for-1. It would need more training to handle different video sizes effectively.
Makes sense. It's a good reminder that even the most advanced AI models are still limited by the data they're trained on.
For sure. It's a big consideration for the entire field of AI. As we build more and more powerful models, we have to make sure the data is diverse and representative.
Like building a house. If the foundation's shaky, the whole thing could collapse.
Exactly. A strong foundation is crucial. So let's shift gears a bit and talk about the bigger picture. We've established that Magic 1-for-1 is impressive technically.
Right.
But what does it actually mean for the future of video creation?
That's the big question, right? We've seen AI explode in other creative fields like image generation and music composition. Is video next?
It really seems like it. Magic 1-for-1 is a big leap forward in terms of speed and quality. Imagine a world where anyone, not just professionals, can make incredible videos with just a few clicks.
Yeah, it's like giving everyone access to their own Hollywood special effects studio.
And it's not just for entertainment. Think about the uses in education, advertising, even scientific research.
Right, you could create simulations, visualizations, all sorts of things in minutes.
Exactly. It democratizes video creation, but of course with great power comes great responsibility.
Right, absolutely. What are some of the ethical concerns that come to mind as this technology gets more powerful?
Well, as AI-generated video becomes more realistic, we have to worry about things like misinformation and deepfakes. People might not be able to tell what's real and what's not.
Right.
It could erode trust in visual media. We need safeguards to make sure it's used ethically.
It's a double-edged sword, like any powerful tool.
Exactly. We need to have open discussions about this and develop guidelines for responsible use.
For sure. So back to Magic 1-for-1. They've managed to generate a minute of video in a minute, which is amazing.
It is.
But do you think that's the limit? Could we see even faster generation times in the future?
It's definitely possible. As AI hardware and software improve, processing times will probably get shorter, but there might be a fundamental limit to how fast it can get. Generating high-quality video takes a lot of computing power.
Right, there's a lot of data to process.
Exactly. So maybe instant video generation is still sci-fi for now,
Yeah.
but we'll definitely see big improvements in the coming years.
That's exciting. Okay, so we've talked about the magic, the potential, the limitations, and even the future. What are some key takeaways you want our viewers to walk away with?
Well, first, I just want them to appreciate how cool this research is. The researchers have accomplished something really incredible here.
They really have.
And it could totally change the way we make and watch videos. I hope this discussion gets people thinking about those possibilities. We're in a time where AI is changing creativity in ways we never thought possible.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that we're not just watching technology happen, we're helping shape it.
Exactly. It's up to all of us to ensure that AI is used in a way that benefits everyone.
Well said. Okay, now let's talk about the potential applications of this tech a bit more. We touched on entertainment, education, research, but what about some more, unexpected uses?
Oh, that's where it gets really interesting. We're really just starting to see what AI-generated video can do. Think about personalized training videos for athletes tailored to their individual needs.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Or interactive video games where the environments change based on what the player does.
Right, the possibilities are pretty much endless.
And we can't forget about accessibility. AI could be used to create sign language translations for movies and TV, making them accessible to a much wider audience.
That's a fantastic point. This tech could really help break down barriers. Okay, so we've covered a lot in this deep dive. The technical details of Magic 1-for-1, the limitations, the potential, the ethical considerations, pretty much the whole 9 yards. What are the key takeaways you want people to leave with?
More than anything, I hope people recognize how brilliant this research is. This team has done something remarkable, and their work could completely change how we create and experience video content. It's a huge step forward.
Couldn't agree more, and I hope our viewers are excited about what this means for the future. AI-generated video has the potential to change how we tell stories, share information, connect with each other, in completely new ways.
I love that. It's an incredibly exciting time for AI, and I can't wait to see what happens next.
Okay, so we've covered how impressive this model is, the potential, the limitations, all that. But I want to go back to that 1-minute generation time for a minute, no pun intended.
Yeah, it's definitely what catches your eye.
It does.
And it points to a bigger trend in AI right now, I think. Not just focusing on accuracy, but also making things faster, more efficient.
Right. Like, who has time to wait around for hours for a video to render?
Nobody, really. And that's what makes Magic 1-for-1 so exciting. It makes these powerful tools, the kind of stuff only experts had access to before.
Right.
It makes them available to everyone.
It's like the difference between those old dark rooms for photos and just snapping a pic on your phone.
Totally. And I think that's having a huge impact on creativity. You can experiment more, you can try things out faster, and that leads to more innovation.
Yeah, you're not bogged down by the technical stuff. So, okay, big question. Do you think we'll ever get to truly instant video generation? Like Star Trek holodeck instant?
That's a good one. I mean, a minute of video in a minute is amazing.
It is.
But video, especially high-quality video, it takes a ton of processing power.
Right.
So even with better hardware, faster algorithms, there might be a limit to how fast it can actually get.
So maybe true instant video is still sci-fi, at least for now.
Yeah, probably. But never say never. Technology's always changing. Who knows what's next?
True. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, any last thoughts?
I'd say definitely check out the paper, look at their project page. They have some really cool examples of what this model can do.
Yeah.
And I hope this conversation, gets people thinking about the possibilities. AI is opening up creative doors we never even imagined before.
Yeah, and it's a reminder that we're not just along for the ride. We're shaping this technology, figuring out how it's going to impact the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's our responsibility to make sure AI is used for good, for everyone.
Absolutely. And on that note, we'll wrap up this episode of AI Paper Podcasts. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep pushing the boundaries of what AI can do.